Hey, so this is Wise Women in Conversation in lockdown or not, depending how you're living these days. Freedom with Rachael and Indra from Silent Moon. So we just thought we'd just have a conversation about intuition and what we're doing to prioritize our sanity and the sanity of our family and the sanity of our friends these days. So here we are. Here we are. So we're in very different places in the country. I'm in West Wales and Indra's up in York, which I guess we've got there's different vibes where we're living.
Totally, yeah. Really.
Yeah.
And lots of snow.
Yeah.
As well.
You've got lots of snow, we've just got lots of rain. That's what.
Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it, how it's so different?
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, talking about sort of sanity, and I mean, you know, my focus is mainly on mental health anyway with people. So I read this, I want to share this quote actually. I read it this morning. It was about, I was reading some stuff from Bob Proctor, which was about decision making. And I read this quote from Helen Keller, which was the most pathetic person in the world is a person who has their sight but no vision. And when you said about thinking about intuition and focusing on intuition earlier, I loved that because it really made me realize that people are just being sheep, dare I say.
Yeah.
And it has gone from what they believe they truly are. That's gone. And they've just been tugged all over the place. So I think that's a really, to me, it's about keeping, what I've been doing is really keeping my center. It's been just really pulling myself in and going with that. And if that requires me to be in hermit mode, that's good. If it requires me to go out in the snow and play, that's good. But it's really just following the flow of my own vision of where I want to go. And I'm doing the same with Callie as well. We're just living like that right now through lockdown. Because to me, that's the only way to go, because we don't know what's going to happen with our security or any of that. So flow is the way for me.
Yeah. And I know you've always been like that. We did a Facebook Live, it must have been like March or something like that. It was like the first lockdown, and we were talking about following your intuition and being guided and the hermit mode thing as well, because I think at that point we were both being very guided to do more meditation and really go within and not work so much. You know, it's been a weird year really, because it's like we both worked online before anyway, and then suddenly everyone's working online now, and I don't want to be online at all. So I'm kind of scheduling these little things in, and then I'm turning my computer off and I'm getting outside in nature as much as I can. But for me, the thing that I'm really been shocked by is the amount of people who are just saying, I'm doing as I'm told. And I was like, I thought you were an anarchist. All these old punks, all these people that I used to know who were like punks are like, oh yeah, I'm wearing a mask and I'm staying at home and I'm doing as I'm told. And I'm like, see, right from the start, my intuition said there's something fishy going on here. There's another agenda behind all of this. And I didn't know what it was. And I'm still I don't know the truth. There's so much stuff out there that's saying it's the truth. The only truth I know is what's in me.
Absolutely.
And my inner truth is telling me not to wear a mask. You know, I had people right at the start say to me, are you going to start making masks? I was like, have you watched The Handmaid's Tale? It's like, I will never be silenced. I will never be masked. You know, it's like, and for me, smiling at people in shops is really important.
Yeah.
Having that connection, walking down the street, it's like, why are you wearing a mask outside? Fresh air is vital. You know, I mean, I'm going through this immense healing journey, and it's like, okay, what are the fundamentals of health? Fresh air. It's like breathing in plastic, breathing through pieces of cloth that are, you know, just keep holding that, you know, carbon dioxide.
I put something actually on Facebook this morning, which was a guy called Nick Hayes. Have you come across him?
No.
Interviewed by Russell Brand, and he was talking about the right for fresh air and the right for open spaces, and he's written a book, and why we pay to have to go to the woods, or why we pay to have to, you know, go into these spaces. And I thought that was really profound. And like you say, it's, to me, I'm the same. I make it it's so important to me to smile at people. And because I've made it my intention, at the beginning, I wasn't seeing people smiling, but now I'm seeing people smiling back and even saying hello, because it's my intention that people will. I don't go out there thinking that they're not, because I believe that they do. And this morning, actually, even when I forgot to smile at somebody because I was trying not to slip in the ice, somebody said, she came and said, hello. I was like, there you go. You see, you put the intention out there. And so easy.
And that's the other thing for both of us, you know, as part of our work, is creating our own reality. And it's interesting because, you know, people in other countries seem to think that we're in really heavy lockdown and like police state. I haven't seen a police, you know, that's not in my reality. You know, it's like, and I don't know whether that's because it's where I live, but, you know, I'm not living in fear and I'm not engaging in that reality at all. So I'm not seeing it, and the only thing I see is a few people in masks, and it's like, you know, that's a personal choice as well. I don't have any issues with other people if it makes them feel more comfortable. But for me, it's about giving people that permission to kind of go, you know what, you don't have to wear it. You can smile at people. You can, and I kind of go. It's like even when I go into the, I had to go and have blood test done. And I was going to the nurse, I'm really sorry. It's a weird thing, but when you've got a mask on, I feel like I go deaf. And she was just like, oh, I'm really sorry that I have to wear it. And I went, I know you have to, you know, but I don't. So yeah, that's mine.
Shouting as well, because you think people can't hear you. So it's all muffled and you end up shouting. And I've not worn a mask yet. I've only ever worn a headband because I don't like the physical thing that the mask represents. So I've chosen from the beginning not to wear an actual mask. I stick a headband on my head and then I push it down over my mouth if I need to. But I end up half the time taking it off because people are going, what? And I just go, because it's like pointless. It's just that you can't hear me anyway.
No.
But yeah, I totally, I mean, you're obviously very rural. You're in a rural area. I'm in a urban areas, so it's probably very different. There are a lot of police around in vans, but I don't engage with it. It's just, to me, it's coppers in vans. I mean, I used to be a copper, so I don't have that feeling of fear with the police because so it's like,
I love that you used to be a copper.
I know people will go, yeah, I mean, I loved it. I loved the job. I thought it was great. But it was due to sexual harassment that I left, and I wouldn't have left otherwise.
Interesting. I've heard of a few women who've left. So that, it's that patriarch. It's such a patriarchal world, isn't it? That police, but you know, in general. And I think, you know, that's when I go into my centre and really like drop into what's happening in the world, it really feels like patriarchy's having its last go at control. You know, it's really trying, and I think it's going to take a while for things to change and things to really shift. But you know, the reason I want to do these conversations with women is because we have to keep shining as strong women and shining a light on that patriarchal control. And you know, how we need to stand together to break it, to kind of keep working towards that. And for me, you know, it doesn't have to be, I mean, it's amazing that people are protesting and they're standing up for their rights, and at the moment that's not my thing. I did all that in my 20s. I kind of feel like there's a time and a place in your life for that kind of activism. My activism at the moment is meditating and staying in the light. You know, and beaming that light into the world and having these kind of conversations with people
Yeah.
doing magic, really. I mean, I was saying that in my women's group last night, and that's the other thing. It's like, I think it's really important that we continue with our groups that bring us joy. It's like, let go of all the stuff that doesn't bring you joy anymore. Here's your opportunity, really, to step into, what,
as we were saying earlier, going back to those witchy traditions that we're so used to, the burning, using the elements, letting go of the old crap and burning it and letting it go. And I love the fact that we both were burning stuff yesterday and we didn't even know. And that's something we've both done with moon rituals, is that we've burnt stuff. And it's one of those things you can all say, oh, I did that a long time ago, but well, the element of fire is always there to support this kind of thing, burning up the old. It's one of the best things to do is to write down beliefs. It's so important now. This is a time to use it.
And in the same respect, like just simple stuff like decluttering, get rid of the shit that you don't need in your house anymore. We both did that as well, didn't we? We were both like, oh yeah, I saw you were getting rid of stuff. I've been getting rid of stuff as well. Creating space for the new. I mean, the stuff with the fire started where my altar actually set itself on fire with my crystal ball.
Yeah, it wanted to.
Yeah, it was just like time to clear stuff. But to continue to clear and to use those. And one of the women was saying last night, they were feeling a little bit like a bit scared doing this kind of ritual. And I was like, well, Neptune is in the same place it was in the Salem trials, the witch trials. It's like we're history repeats itself over and over in different ways, and we have to make sure we're not getting caught up in those cycles, because that's what another thing that it feels like is going on at the moment, the divisiveness, neighbors grassing on each other for seeing their friends, or oh, you're not wearing a mask, you should be wearing a mask, and that kind of finger pointing, like the witch trials. It was just like,
I love that. It's just says so much to me, and it answers the question why I've been reading so much about that time. I mean, obviously we both were connected to that, and
that's
I remember I said to you, I've got this desperate need, and I know some other witchy women who are the same. Another friend of mine who's a healer, Michelle, she was doing the same, and that feeling. I said to you, I'm wanting to read about the plague. I'm wanting to read about witches. And I didn't really question it, but now I know why. And it's following the flow, and understanding more about where you come from, and even how you dealt with it then, and how you can deal with it differently now.
Absolutely. I think all of us carry that in our consciousness, that those burning times were massive, absolutely massive. That persecution, we all carry that, and that energy is around again, and it's here to be cleared. So we need to, that's where, when we're dropping in and being centered, we're clearing it. We're clearing that stuff, and as we do the work, we're clearing it for the humanity. We're not just clearing it for ourselves.
Absolutely.
And it's the synchronicity, and that's it's the other thing that we often talk about as well, is like follow the flow and follow the synchronicity. So what synchronicities have been going on in your life, Indra?
Where do you want to start? God, everything is just falling into place. For me, without going into too much detail, I'm now sort of just really, really beginning to realize that all these steps towards my path that have led to me right now, to where I am and where I'm now going. So I've just watched things being put into place, and I've had to do certain things that maybe I haven't wanted to do, to actually prove to myself that I could do them, and then be taken off the path as quickly as I was put on it. That's what I found really funny, is that there's anything can happen right now. It's just as soon as you're on something, you can be taken off it. It's almost like one of those Mad Mouse rides at a fun fair. It's like you're going down a path, and then all of a sudden you change, and you kind of have to be okay with that, because it's, if you have faith, you're going to be okay.
And that's the other thing, isn't it? It's the faith, having absolute trust that everything is going to be okay. And I've always felt that. I mean, I feel like I was born for these times. I've got the resilience for these times. You know, it's like I haven't wobbled at all. You know, in the last year, you know, I've had friends die. I've had a stage 4 cancer diagnosis. You know, I've had to have major surgery, and all the way through, I've just gone, I absolutely trust this is part of my learning. This is part of what I'm supposed to be here to do, whether it's, you know, a kind of deeper learning so that I can support other people when they're going through it. I don't know. I have no idea, but I know that this is what I'm born to do. This is why I'm here at this time.
Well, it's going through that Dolores Cannon thing, you know, the new wave, when you were talking about this wave 2. I mean, to me, that was just, when you pulled that up, I was just like, I got the book, I haven't started it yet, but I just thought exactly the same as you. We are in that, we're there. That's what we are here for, you know?
Yeah. So anyway, if you don't know who we're talking about, Dolores Cannon, there's an amazing video of her. She's passed away now. There's an audience with her on Amazon from 2012 talking about basically these times, and how, you know, when I think it was, she talks about when we started messing around with nuclear power, basically the powers that be up there started going, hang on a minute, they're going to blow themselves up. Who volunteers to come to Earth to support the ascension? Because that's ultimately what's happening at the moment, is we're getting an upgrade. We're, you know, the Earth is ascending. We're all waking up. The veil's thin. You know, a lot of people getting their, you know, gifts are coming in stronger, whatever that might be. And, you know, we both watched it going, oh, that was us. We kind of went, yeah, I volunteer. And then we go, God, what the hell? Really? Did I really volunteer for this?
Yeah, it was amazing for me, that video. And yeah, I suggest you do watch it, because it will resonate. And I shared it with a few women, and exactly the same. It's just, knew which wave they'd come in on as well, you know. And I, same with my kids. I mean, I know they're part of the third wave. I can see that so clearly, you know.
They're here to change the world, aren't they? It's kind of, yeah, absolutely.
And it's I mean, it's, to me, these times are really profound. My vision's changed, as in my actual vision has changed. I don't see things the same. I don't know how you've.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't see anything as I did last February.
No. Well, it's like, I mean, you know, for someone who's done, you know, none of my kids are vaccinated. It's all been about homeopathy and herbs and natural healing. You know, here I am having to have chemotherapy. And I was just like, that for me, it was massive. I've just go, I need to change my belief system. I need to look at this medicine that I've seen as poison as being a love potion, and that it's going to be healing. And it's, you know, that I would have changed, you know, before. I was so stubborn. The old me was so stubborn. I would have been like, no, I'd die. I'd rather, you know, and I, yeah, whatever's going on has blown me open. And the synchronicities, it's like I get guidance every day. You're on the right path. You're on the right path. A lot of it is numbers for me. So I see, ever since February, I've been seeing 3s everywhere. Even I just look at my watch and it's like 3:33, 11:33. It's like 33% battery on my phone left. It's a joke now in our house. I go 33, you know, car registration, whatever, you know, it's just like hilarious. Yeah, I mean, even last week I was driving home from my acupuncturist. I was in a bit of you know, I was feeling pretty crap. And at the back of a van, someone's written in the dirty writing on the back of the van, "It's okay to smile." And I just laughed my head off.
I love it. I love it when that happens. Really.
Little signs that kind of cheer you up.
Yeah. And it's like not shutting any door as well. I've found that's another thing. Not closing a door, as in if an opportunity is there, you know, giving yourself the chance to actually walk through that door, rather than going, no, I'm not doing that because I'm finding now that things are offered for a reason, and I'm just going with it. So okay, let me go there because I've been offered it as well. You know, it's just. I'm also wanting to mention something. This has come to me. I'm wanting to mention something about male energy, just because they're. you know, there has been some posts up about, you know, the masculine energy and these men that are very much aware of the balance between masculine and feminine energy. And just to say that they are out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because I've noticed quite a few women, including myself, have had a bit of a about, you know, where are these men, you know?
Yeah.
And they do get a bad press some of the time, men, because we can slag them off. So I do want to say, you know, there are men out there who are open to the feminine energy and are open to this change, you know?
Yeah.
What's your thought on that, Miss?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm really lucky. We were talking last night about, you know, the community that we have here. There's some amazing men, really beautiful men. And I feel like my work will be working more with men and women. You know, I'm you know, I love my women's circles and, you know, connections with the women that I've got, but I can see it's going to be more collaborating with, you know, bringing the men in and bringing that energy in. So we've had some amazing like drumming circles and doing rituals and stuff, which has been beautiful. Was it New Year had a really beautiful circle where again we did burning, but we made talismans, men and women and kids. It's just actually, for me, it's time to like for us, the whole community, to come together, you know.
Yeah, it is totally.
Yeah.
Don't you find that, I mean, you've always kind of had your tribe and people around you, but I haven't, and I've always been aware that there was people out there that I really resonated with, and then there was other people that I just needed to drop, and it's also giving yourself permission to hold your boundaries, to drop,
Yeah,
you know, those that don't suit you anymore. Because that's what that helps your own personal health. To me anyway. I can't have toxic energy around me anymore.
No, and that's been this year for me. It's been an absolute cull of all of that. Because it happened naturally as well. Everyone retreated, didn't they? First lockdown, everyone retreated into their homes. And obviously the journey I've been going through, I've needed support. I've been in and out of hospital. I was in bed for 6 weeks after having my op. I've needed this, and the right people stepped up to do that, and the people that didn't, it's like, okay, yeah, you know, that's it. I've just been shown absolutely the kind of
Same. So yeah, I think we don't give ourselves permission just to let go, and we think that's cruel. Well, it isn't. It's cruel to yourself to keep hold.
That's it. And I mean, both of us do a lot of listening to Dr. Joe's meditations, and one of the things he says is, where are you putting your energy that you could be putting it on yourself? And a lot of people are draining. So it's like, you know,
well, we're okay about saying that.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay to kind of go to recognize that someone drains your energy and spend less time with them. It's kind of like, you know, we're both sensitive, empathic people, and you know, it's like, life's too short to spend it being drained.
I was talking to somebody this morning in the snow, and he was saying to me about somebody who was draining his energy, and he kept getting pulled back to him. And I just said to him, you need to hold your boundaries. He said, well, I'm so afraid of upsetting people. Yeah. And I was like, you're going to have to, at these times, you have to drop that. You're going to have to stop because, you know,
it doesn't serve you, does it? I mean, it's like the codependent, people pleasing side of our personalities. We, you know, been there, done that. I don't do it anymore. I mean, that's one of the things that I find really interesting, being on sort of cancer groups, where, you know, I just thought, I might get some information and I might be able to support some people, and so many victims. I mean, you know, that's the homeopathic potency of the cancer remedy, is being a victim. And I was just there going, what are you actually doing to help yourself? It's like, I've just never been that kind of personality. I've always done my research and looked into what I can do to help myself. So, you know, and on that thread, it's like, you know, with this whole virus that's out there, it's like, actually, what can you do to keep yourself well? We all have an immune system. You know, do you remember the old days where we used to actually take our kids to get measles? It's like, let's all build our immune systems up so we actually get these illnesses. And, you know, it's like Rudolph's, you know, my kids went to Steiner school. Rudolf Steiner was really big on, you know, natural immunity, letting your kids catch these illnesses. We've all got these viruses in us anyway, and they come out when you're ill, when you're low, when your immune system's not up to scratch. I mean, obviously my immune system's fucked at the moment. Excuse my language. You know? So I am having to be more careful, but
Woo!
I know, I was just noticing how well we'd done so far.
I know, you know what I'm like.
I know, and you haven't said anything yet. We usually swearing like troopers. But
that's with also the fear. It's like, I think people know, it's just that that we have been so indoctrinated with everything that's going on that we're just, not me, talking about me, they're scared of not having it. And
yeah,
I mean, like, come back to yourself, as did a live the other day. Keep coming back to yourself, because that's not what you believe. That's not what you believe. You know?
Yeah, I mean, even this whole kind of, you know, someone said to me, "Oh, I can't wait for the vaccine and we can start hugging again." And I just said, I've been hugging the whole time. I haven't stopped hugging, because I know that the oxytocin my body releases when I hug someone is really good for me. It's like,
exactly. Yeah.
And I even bumped into a friend of mine who is a nurse outside the hospital, and we were hugging in the car park. You know?
So we're doing it, yeah.
And it's just like, you know, I just think we have to keep living our lives and show it, giving permission, almost giving permission. It's like saying to people, we're not scared. You don't have to be scared. This is, I mean, I know on some level it's about control. You know, there's the patriarchy is trying to control us, and I've always been a rebel. I've always been like, screw you, you're not going to control me. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I was ill last, I don't know if you remember, but I was ill last January, and it was when all this was kicking off.
Yeah.
And I went to the hospital, and they asked me if I'd been abroad, and I said no. And they x-rayed me. Well, obviously it's not going to show up, is it, on an x-ray? And I do believe that I had the virus in January, along with a lot of people who had it over Christmas time. And if that's anything to go by, I mean, I was ill for 5 weeks, and I have never been ill like it in my life. And I couldn't breathe properly, and I'm very fit. But to me, and I'm touching wood here, and I'm not tempting fate, but to me, I would rather have 5 weeks of that, build up my immunity, than have anything foreign put into my body.
Yeah.
And it was exhausting, and I did sleep a lot, but I gave my body permission. Yeah. And when you give your body permission and you stop fighting what it is, and just allow your body to go into that, like they did in the olden days, you know, they did push out to work, because that's the thing, everything's quickened up now. Everybody needs to be working instead of just allowing themselves to be ill. Yeah. They're fighting it.
Well, that's why vaccines came out in the first place, isn't it? So vaccinate your kids so that they won't get sick, so you don't have to have time off work, so you could be productive. I mean, that's like, my 10-year-old said that to me the other day. She said, like, why do people vaccinate their children? Why don't they just let their children get ill? And I was just like, really good question. So that they can keep going to work, because they don't want to sit with their children, take their temperature, mop their brow, you know, cuddle them while they're ill, do the things that, you know, were second nature to us. And actually, I've had a few friends tell me that they think they had it before everything kicked off, and they were like, oh, you know, I treated it like I did with flu. You know, I took my vitamin C, I took my zinc, my vitamin D, I rested, I let myself be ill. And that's the thing, that it's really hard. And interestingly, that's what came up for me when I was going to have my operation. My therapist I was working with said to me, what's your biggest fear? And I went, having to stay in bed for 6 weeks. It was like not having an operation, not having open surgery. It was like actually doing nothing for 6 weeks, and it was absolutely beautiful. I read books, I rested, I allowed myself to be looked after, which, you know, it that surrender for me, that was my word of 2020 was surrender. Was massive for me because I hate asking for help.
It's lovely. That's just amazing. It's such a lesson to learn.
It is.
In January, I let myself go.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
Because every few minutes I was just like, I could be sat doing something and then all of a sudden I'd just go, like, sleep. It was like, you know, like the dormouse off Alice in Wonderland. I was just like, what is going on? And of course we didn't know.
No, that's it at that point. Yeah.
No, so yeah, allow your body, you know.
So yeah, what would be your top tips for keeping sane? We'll kind of finish this off with like, what do you do to, yeah, what does that mean, Indra?
Come back.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah. Come back and just allow. Come back to just being in your center. Do your yoga, do your meditation, do whatever it takes just to see your truth, be in your truth, and hold your own visions. I mean,
I was talking to someone last week.
Sorry, go on.
I was talking to someone last week who's actually got to the point where they said they were feeling suicidal. And I was just like, so make a list of all the things that bring you joy. Are you going out for walks? Are you doing your meditation? Are you doing your yoga? Are you being with people? Are you ringing your friends? Are you playing music that lifts you up? You know, it's like, and they, of course, they were just getting bogged down with the news, which I haven't watched the news since I was like 16, I think. So,
I watch news, never have. So,
no.
Yeah, toxic. How about you? What is your takeaway?
Switch it off. One of the big things that's come for me, like being in nature and doing my meditation, has been prayer, actually. And, you know, as an ex-Catholic, I never thought I'd come back to that, but it's actually been, yeah.
Rachel's a big lover of Our Lady.
Yeah, and do you know what? If you hold her back a bit, how vulval is she? How vulval is Mary? Yeah. Word.
I've had her so long, that was her colour, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing, eh?
I think it's raising our vibration in whatever way works for you, isn't it? And for me, that's been the biggest thing. I've actually joined a couple of prayer groups, and when I come out of them, I just feel so different. You know, it's so different from like going to church, or it's, you know, it's kind of like, yeah, a bit like sitting in a meditation group or coming out of a yoga class. You just feel lifted. So, you know, my takeaway would be continue to do the work, continue to gather, to do, whether it's Wicca, whether it's prayer, whether it's, you know, meditation, paganism, celebration, burning stuff, you know, know what your path is, and just keep doing it and keep rippling out. I'd say
there must be something in this we keep doing.
I know it is that,
like
that connection, isn't it? Heaven, earth, yeah. Bringing that in
from the heart,
center. Yeah, yeah. And I actually love that Go Love meditation that Dr. Joe put out last year.
It's that music just breaks me open. It's just like,
it's beautiful. So we'll add those links.
I always love our chats.
Yes.
You know, we've been connected for so long. We don't see each other very much physically because we're so far apart, but, you know, thank God for this.
Exactly. Technology has its pros.
Love you loads, my darling.
And you, thank you. Wise Women in Conversation. There we go. Hope you enjoyed this, and look out for the next instalment, whatever that might be. I'm going to hand it over to Indra as well. Could you start these as well? I think that we should all be doing these. We should all be just meeting with our mates online and having conversations that might just drop in little aha moments and light bulb moments for people.
Yeah, we'll do. That's great. Yeah, of course.
All right. Lots of love. All right then. Stop.